How's it going, everybody? Once again, we are back here in my room, about to have an amazing interview with another great comedian in the scene, somebody that's always really cool and sincere and actually has a lot of wealth of knowledge to share and to, there's always something to learn from this guy. I'll share his stats right here. That's statistics. Again, this is for Tit Magazine, the Intermittent Titter. Brinan is a comic who's been here in LA for years. He runs Outside Jokes, and he's, at first you're like, this guy's like a very scholarly type of fella, but then you get to know him a bit better, and he's like, oh, okay, he's just like you or me. He thinks things very similarly, but sharper, I would feel. Anyway, enough blowing smoke up his ass. Let's go ahead and get him on here. This is another thing that has I don't know why this has happened twice. Oh, there he is.
I'm right
there. Hey, we finally made it. How's it going?
Yeah. I'm here.
How are you? You're good?
Yes, sir. How are you?
I'm good. I'm great. So, you know what? This whole thing is taking place on social media.
Sure.
And I want to get your perspective on this, because I think you're a working comic in the sense that you're always busy. You always got shows. You always got something to do, somewhere to go.
Sure.
How do you feel like these rectangular boxes we're in, how do you feel like that's affected the booking process for you as a comedian?
It's my primary way to get on shows is through social media. As my primary way of seeing what shows are out there. Yeah. And I mean, unless I'm going to venues like the Comedy Store, like the Improv, the Laugh Factory, and having that one-on-one time with bookers and staff and other major comics, there's no real other way to get in those spaces unless you're on social media.
It's insane. Yeah, it's like our generation's Google or something, we're just always searching up like, okay, what type of comics are around me, like, what type of venues are around. It almost makes you wonder, like, is word of mouth dead, or is this just kind of something that leads to word of mouth and leads to building those genuine connections with comics you might have not have known otherwise?
So yeah, word of mouth is okay. I mean, word of mouth is with your own particular close group of friends. That's always good. Whatever local bars you go to, you can always promote there. But for the most part, like social media, like how big is your presence? How big is your range? Like how many people can you DM personally that will respond to any of your messages? I mean, promotion is always like a 2 or 3 tiered process, right? Like you have to have your designs, you have to have your branding. You have to then have at least 5 to 10 people that that actually support you. And then through those 5 or 10 people, they may have 2 or 3 people that support them. And then you have to kind of work those numbers. But at the end of the day, you need to send out cast a big net, and then the people that you have already got within your circle, they'll see that big net, and then they'll reinforce that even within your smaller circle. So it's kind of like you have to show that you're doing big things, you're always working, you're always hustling, but then you also have to like prove it by having your promotional stuff. Like, I mean, I'm out doing shows, and then when I decide to produce my own show, I know the people that I've had on my shows and that support my shows, or I've supported other people's shows. I'm relying on the fact that they'll come and support my show.
Yeah. I mean, it's all to help out the greater good. We're all here. We're all being funny. We're all pushing for more and more booking, bigger and bigger gigs.
Right.
Of that whole process, what do you feel like you're the most strongest in and the weakest in, as far, or at least maybe not weak, but like, where do you feel like you're definitely pushing to improve in 2024, as like that whole approach of just putting out your projects, getting people to come to the shows, getting people to buy tickets, getting people to stay during the shows, getting people to follow? Like, where's your strength and weakness there?
I think my strength in all of this is just my will to do it. I'm not necessarily good at anything except wanting to make it happen, and everything kind of comes with that. That's being able, like, willing things to happen. Like, I set a goal, I'll get it done. And then within that, uh, whether that's my material that I work on, uh, at Mike's or other shows, or the promote, because I don't just do I don't do any graphic design. I outsource that. So for getting my flyers and things, I have a particular group of people, particular set of folks that do that work for me. Even with putting butts in seats, right? Because that's the whole thing, is putting, how do you fill a crowd,
Right.
uh, that that's what I was going from earlier, is like, you have to rely on a small subset of people that will do that running for you, especially since you've already delivered, right? Delivering on your promise, I think, is probably one of the biggest things. Is like, is it a good show? Yeah, it was a pretty good show, and like that will carry you to the next show.
Yeah.
But what I want to do better, I guess, in 2024, I'm doing quantity versus quality now. I'm just pumping stuff out, because that's what a lot of people want. Like, people are like, oh, you should focus on the craft and making it, honing it. Well, you really have to produce more than just like one great artwork, because that'll get lost in the algorithm.
Body of work, really, for people
Right.
to find that will get you, like, new fans and new followers, new buyers, new audience members. But if you stop even short for a little bit, it could be lost to the sea of content that everybody and their mom is putting out there. So yeah.
Well, people will forget about you immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you just got to keep making stuff, keep making things, keep putting stuff out into the zeitgeist, and so that other people can connect with it.
Yeah. There's something comforting in that, thinking that, like, okay, like, if I stop, I die. But if I just start, I won't, so long as I stop. That's the craziest thing of it, like, you kind of have to keep, I don't want to say keep feeding the machine, because I feel like that's been said before, but just like keep going for the distance, not for the speed of it. Everybody is always saying, like, marathon, and I think you're illustrating it as is. Comparatively speaking, you've also, I every time I see you in person, you're always talking about, like, how well you're, like, booking yourself in advance. Not to toot your own horn, of course, but you make a point out of, like, going months ahead of time just to make sure you've got dates set.
Yeah, I'm booked until March.
Exactly. So regarding that, how do you feel like your thought process is when you decide what to take and what to say, maybe next time, or maybe never? Like, where does the line drawn for those type of things?
I mean, my priority is always shows, right? That's my first thing. So if somebody asks me to do a show, I automatically say yes, and then I put it in a calendar. I mean, there's times where I'll have 3 shows in one night, and I'll have to go across the entire goddamn city to make it to all of them. Even spacing out those dates, like, I have one in Palm Springs on the 26th. I still have to figure out how I'm getting there, right? And I have to see who's on the lineup. I have to hit the producer up, and then maybe I'll take a train that was thrown out. I was talking to somebody about that. Like, I'll take the train to the bus or something, because they're paying me, so might as well go out for a paid show, and then figure out the most economic way of getting there. In terms of, like, well, how does that interfere in my regular day-to-day life? I mean, the people that I involve with, myself personally, understand that comedy is my priority, and I usually can break dates if necessary, or like social obligations or whatever, because it's like, I have my show, I have my career, I have things I need to do. And I prioritize the people in my life that accept that, you know, and just make sure that I'm able to do everything that I want to do in order to be successful.
Yeah.
There's like prioritizing comedy first, and then like my health second. Like you know, like I don't care. I'll do comedy till I die.
Mm.
So there's that, and if I keep that mentality as aggressive as possible, I feel more complete, you know, and I feel very supported in my life by the people who, uh, you know, want to be a part of it.
Yeah, no easy task, I'm sure. You know, it might take a little bit of whittling to get that certain collective around, because you know you are who you surround yourself by. And
Uh-huh.
personally, you know, I've had like those type of months where I'd be like, oh, you know, I'm around the right type of people, I'm getting shows, I'm getting booked, and then I try to stay there because the alternative is being around the people that don't support you, that are a little more selfish, that aren't as
Uh-huh.
understanding, and it's hard to really understand the in between, you know, like family or I guess, you know, close spouses or whatever. So what type of instances are there when you have to say no to a show? Are there, if any?
Uh, uh, I think I've said no because I had a flat tire once, or no, like it was something else. Because I can change a flat tire. What else have I had to say? I mean, I've been like deathly ill, like really sick, and have missed a show. Like physically, just barfing. Like I mean, I would go if I had like, you know, a head cold or something like that, and I would wear a mask or whatever. I've, you know, not haven't had COVID, but I've been very sick and still have done shows. Um, I think if it's double booked, 8. Like I've even gotten to the extent of having guest hosts on my own show because somebody asked me to be on their show.
Mm.
So I'll book a guest host, and then I'll go and do another show, and then sometimes I'll even double back and finish out the other show if necessary. Um, yeah, I don't think I've really said no in a while, and I think that's probably just part of my track record.
I think it's probably inspirational. I mean, you look at it like this, it's like you're embodying the statement, you know, whatever it takes, no matter the cost, you know.
Uh-huh.
And it's as you said, unless if you're physically unable to move without harm being done to you, like you try to make the show at all costs, you know. So it's
Uh-huh.
like, that's admirable. And the idea that you go ahead and have a guest host fill in for you, if only for a little bit, while you're doing this run around between, you know, where you're starting off with the next show and then going back to your own show to close it out. That's pretty genius and
Uh-huh.
probably even expected, because not only are you taking care of your needs, you're also like testing the waters with this, I don't want to say new guy, this new potential co-host or substitute in the case where you might need it for a couple more than a couple hours, maybe a couple of shows. Maybe you got something East Coast and you need this guy to, or this girl to take over for a couple weeks. So
Sure.
that's
I
that's really good.
also I love giving people opportunities. Like if I put a word out, I put a blast out or something like, hey, I need something for this, this, and this. And if somebody steps up, I'm like, great, I can use you for this, and other things. So it's like, yeah, and developing a network of people who work is the best because it's like you're not because nobody gives you anything, right? Nobody's going to give you opportunities. So if I see somebody who's hustling, um, I always I like giving. I don't like, you know, even with receiving opportunities and stuff like that, like I'm always more really welcome to that. Like even this, you know, you asked me to do this is considered comedy work. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because it's producing something. This is not just us having a chit chat. You're going to splice and cut this however, and you're posting this eventually.
that's
So
that.
this is just like it's another record of comedy.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And it's good that you see it like that, because honestly, everything is just, you could really like pat yourself on the back if you need to, because everything you do as a comic can either be seen as a setback or even hopefully, you know, a milestone, right? I don't know how long you've been doing this outside jokes show with with your partner, but it's been consistent. I always see the flyers. I was happy to be on one of the shows itself. It's certainly well
We
produced.
do
And
3 years. It's been 3 years.
3 years, okay, congratulations, 3 years, yeah. So that said, when you're running this, when you're running like around your venue, spinning so many plates as you do in that, what's the name of the cafe again? Can you shout it out? What's the name of the cafe? Oh, it's
It's a brewery,
brewery,
the
yeah.
Farfield Beer Company, yeah, over in
Yeah,
Hawthorne.
yeah. Shout out to them. When you're doing that, like how do you, on top of all those plates are spinning, handle the ones that come crashing down in the form of drama? Like, what's your thought process when you're in the midst of the show? It's going great, except for one thing, one guy, one girl, one comic, one audience member. Like, what's your protocol there? Would you say?
Roast the dog shit out of them if necessary. I don't know. I mean, to be serious, like with um, if you ask me about Andrew Tate one more time, I'm gonna call your teacher. Get off my live. Thank you. I'm gonna call Miss and I'm gonna tell them that you're stalking me on IG Live. All right, I'm gonna call everybody.
Wow.
Setbacks. I mean, my radiator blew. You know what I mean? Like in my car, and I had to take it apart to like look for a leak. You know, and like it didn't. The setback was that like thinking like my car's gonna die.
Right.
You know, and what was it? Sunday was this last. What day was that? Saturday. When did I take apart my car? Wednesday. Friday. Yeah. So Friday. Yeah, I had to like take apart my whole car.
God damn.
Yeah.
Wow.
And like then figuring out the whole air valve intake and a bunch of other parts. Like I had to like YouTube all of it, you know, and then I figured out where the leak was, and then I was able to buy this, like I bought the tube and I figured out how to change the tube and decided to use like a stop leak solution that ended up being able to plug the leak in of itself, and now my fucking heater works and I'm not driving a freezing ass car anymore. Like it's amazing.
And
I'm
you've
back
got
on the
knowledge
road.
behind you now. You
Right.
out of
So
it.
that's what I'm saying. Any setback is an opportunity to learn something new, even if it's terrifying. You know, like my mother's health is slowly deteriorating, and so I am frantic. Not necessarily frantic, but I am counting my days of how much I can fill with comedy before I have to go home and take care of her eventually, if that's what's going to have to happen.
That's a strong motivation. Live.
Because I only have so much time.
Yeah.
There's only so much time to do things, and it's like every day that I'm not working or putting out a sketch, DMing shows, hitting mics, because everybody thinks like they have to be this best comic, and you can see people who are way more successful, in quotes, who are kind of, they're not that great, but they can do it, right? And so
Right.
you just, the show business is delusion. It's just like how far is your delusion going to take you? You know what I mean? Because you don't have to be. A lot of people can sing. I mean, think about like the music community, how full of shit those people are. And Pancho, can you not? That'd be great. I don't need that, sir. This is lunacy. The lunacy in the comments.
Yes.
I hate you. I hate the people that love me. I do.
Yeah.
The people that love me are trash, and that's fine.
But right. I mean, that's an interesting, and that's a very nice note to end on, is that you really have no excuse to not be working at it as hard as you can every day, like, and you're certainly an example of that. And one of those people, amongst a lot of people, actually all from the Tit Mag party and more, that are inspiring me to be like, okay, I still have an opportunity to make things work. I can't get depressed now. I have to keep my eyes focused on the end game, because if
Yeah,
not, I'm gonna die in
yeah.
sadness. I'm not gonna actually
You
die.
die with regret, and fuck that.
Yeah,
Yeah, like you have to do it every day.
yeah.
Every day. It's not something. You're pushing the needle for whether or not you're building your brand, whether or not you're even just thinking about it constantly. Like what bits am I going to do? What is this life experience going to be? Is this going to eventually be a bit? Can I save this moment in time? Like how can I keep adding to this, right? I almost talk about it like I'm filling a bucket of funny.
Right.
Like when is it gonna? And when it gets full, then it's a project, right? When it's full, when I feel all the funny stuff, is it going to be a bit, a sketch, a show, a gag?
Virtually everything is usable. If you put your
Everything.
mind, everything can be usable.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Brennan. I really appreciate you being on the second ever Tit Mag IT Live. I appreciate you
Hmm.
at the show on Saturday. That was
Yeah,
fun.
that was an insane show,
Yeah,
sir.
yeah, and
Yeah,
yeah,
the burnings were so intense. I have those videos. I'm not gonna post them, but I'll send them
no,
to you.
yes,
Those
please,
are fucking
please
nuts.
do, please do. I would love to start editing those. Uh, you're always so sincere, and I think you're one of those people that is pushing to make it. So
Yes,
here's
sir.
that you don't stop, and thank you for that. I appreciate you being inspirational and also just being fair. You're a fair dude,
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. You want to plug your projects before we get off?
I got February. I'm shooting my special Age of Debauchery, hopefully on the 24th. Before that, I have Outside Jokes once a week, Wednesdays 7:30 over in Hawthorne. I'm booking that tonight because I forgot to do it yesterday. But yeah, I do a weekly every Wednesday without fail, Hawthorne, and then everything else kind of surrounds that. So thank you so much for giving me this opportunity,
Yeah,
Dan.
of course, Brennan. Of
Mm-hmm.
course. We'll talk again soon, but in the meantime, you stay safe out there. Keep on hitting those stages. Keep
All
doing it.
right, thanks, bro. Appreciate you.
All right, take it easy.